Welcome back to the Red Room Chicago Bulls Sessions. I'm your host, Queen Chill Mode, the show where passion meets endless and the energy stays Chicago Bulls red hot. But right now, that fire is dim just a little bit. That's right, our Chicago Bulls are on a 3-game losing streak, and fans are starting to wonder what's gone wrong and how can we fix it before the slide turns into something more serious. Well, we'll break it all down from late game struggles to lineup tweaks and then shine a well-deserved spotlight on one of the Bulls' rising road stars, Jalen Smith, who's quietly becoming a difference maker off the bench. Let's jump right into it. Well, let's start with the obvious. The Bulls' recent losses to the Cavaliers, the Bucks, and the Spurs have exposed a few key issues that Billy Donovan and the crew have to address now. First off, late game execution. Chicago's blown double-digit leads in back-to-back games. The offense has stalled, and the defense has lost its focus. And because of that, teams are taking advantage of them down the stretch. Well, it's not just about effort. It's about poise and execution under pressure. And that, unfortunately, has not been something the Bulls have been able to do with consistency over the last few games, in particular in the fourth quarter. Now, secondly, Josh Giddey, we all know he's out. He's currently day-to-day after injuring his ankle in the Cavaliers game. No timetable for his return, but he's not expected to be out for an extended period of time. However, while he has been out, while he was out, because he missed one game so far, creating offense without him was a struggle. With Giddey sideline, the team's ball movement was slow and spacing was suffered. And while Nikola Vucevic, he's been steady. But without that driving and kicking dynamic that Giddey brings to the table, the offense has become all too predictable. So someone's got to step up and create those looks, and that whether that's Kevin, Trey Jones, Ayo Dosunmu, someone's got to step up and initiate those sets. And taking a look at the Spurs game, it was kind of done by committee, if you will, in a sense, because you had Kevin Porter, who finished with 23 points. He had 5 assists and 5 boards. Trey Jones finished with 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 boards. And Ayo Dosunmu had 20 points, 5 assists, and 2 boards. So those 3 guys are more than capable of initiating the Bulls' offensive sets. But where the issue has lied was that you didn't get a lot of drive and kick type offense that Chicago has been very reliant upon so far this season, in terms of driving the paint, kicking out to the shooters, or kicking out to players for open opportunities. So over the next few games, that's going to be something to really look at and see if Chicago can correct those issues in hopes of breaking this losing streak. And thirdly, defending the stars. From Wembanyama to Giannis, opposing stars have feasted on their Bulls, and they pretty much have had their way. And that has a lot to do in part to the Bulls needing to tighten up their help defense and communicate better with the switches. Too often, they've been a step late, giving up easy lanes, whether it's easy lanes to the basket, easy opportunities for these guys to find their shooters, because again, they've been slow to rotate, slow to help the helper, and it's in those teams, as well as those, and more importantly, those stars have made them pay. And obviously, with Giddey now being out, that moved one of the bench players into the starting lineup, and it didn't necessarily affect the Bulls in terms of them outscoring the Spurs in Monday's night's game, because they did outscore the Spurs bench in the Monday night game. But depending on how long Giddey is out and whoever starts, because the lineup can change from game to game depending on the matchup. But the Bulls bench is going to need to maintain that consistency, because they have truly been a weapon for the Bulls. It's been a pleasure to see how there isn't a huge drop-off when the starters are sitting down. In some cases, the benches actually had better play than the starters. But that's going to they're still going to need to somehow maintain that consistency over the next couple of games. Well, obviously, with Giddey being out, that's going to move one of the bench players. up into the starting lineup. So the remaining guys coming off the bench, you got to see Julian Phillips get a little bit more playing time in last night's game. I believe Dalen Terry got in the game, Javon Carter. So those guys who rarely get an opportunity to get consistent minutes, this would be a good time for them to start to take advantage of that opportunity and continue to help the bench maintain its high level of play that it has shown so far this season. So to survive this stretch without their main creators, the second unit has to bring steady production and not just highlight runs. So the bottom line is, if the Bulls clean up execution, regain rhythm without Giddey, and get more, continue to get that consistent play from their defense. Consistent play from their defense, yes, but also consistent play from their bench. This streak could end slowly. Alright. Now let's pivot to something a little bit more positive. Unlike the global of Jalen Smith. Since signing with the Bulls back in July of 2024, Smith's become a sneaky key to the rotation. His numbers through the first few games are as follow: 10 points a game, 6 boards, not bad for somebody coming off the bench, 1 assist per game, shooting very efficient at 50% from the field and nearly 37% from deep. And this is all happening in just about 16 to 17 minutes per night for this young man. So that's not just solid, that's efficient impact. Smith's ability to space the floor has opened things up for Chicago's offense. After a dip in his shooting last season, he's locked back in, and his confidence is showing, and it looks good on him too. Okay, so anywho, on defense though, he's been versatile. He's been very versatile and alert, capable of switching onto guards and contesting outside shots. He's become one of those players who just makes smart rotation plays, does the dirty work, and brings energy when a team needs just a little jolt of energy. He brings that. And with Zach Collins out, Smith stepped right into that front court role without hesitation, proving he's not just a depth piece, but a reliable contributor. So after a rocky start last year, Jalen Smith's growth is the kind of development story Bulls fans love to see. He's turning from a solid signing into possibly one of the steals of that summer free agency of 2024. So here's to the rise of Jalen Smith, Bulls bench mob 2.0 energy. Well, 3 straight losses. Oh, that stings, no question. But again, it's real early in the season, and the fixes are right there. Clean up the late game mistakes, find your rhythm without Giddey, keep the bench going strong, keep the defense focused, and let rising role players like Jalen Smith keep bringing the spark. This team's too talented and way too prideful to stay down for long. The Red Room will definitely be watching closely, because this next stretch could define whether the Bulls steady the ship or keep spinning their wheels. Thank you all for tuning in to the Red Room Bulls session. If you're rocking with the show, like, share, and subscribe for more Bulls breakdowns, Role Star highlights, spotlights, and all things basketball. Until next time, stay steady, stay ready, stay locked in, and keep it Red Room certified.